Hello, everyone. We're at the Better Business Bureau Sharing podcast studio here, and we have a special guest. We get all sorts of people through here. We've done over 300 podcasts over the last 2 years, and with us is our other side of our Better Business Bureau is the Attorney General's office in every state. We work with the Attorney Generals in a lot of different ways, and so we're lucky enough to have our Attorney General here in the Commonwealth stop by and talk with us. And the first thing I would like you to do is introduce yourself. And really, we want to know your story. I'm going to ask a couple questions. I won't get real personal, but why don't you just introduce yourself first?
I'm Jason Miyares, Attorney General of Virginia, the 48th Attorney General, and it is great to be with you, Barry. I always enjoy getting together with you.
It is. And we did a segment we were just talking about 2 years ago with Melissa, or Melanie Trumpauer, rather, from Better Business Bureau National, with the Marketplace Trust. And we did a panel, the three of us, and it was exciting. And I know a little bit about you, but our listeners don't know maybe as much other than you're the Attorney General. Are you from Virginia? How long you been here?
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny, Barry. When I travel around the state, I get asked sometimes what kind of last name is Miyares, and I like to say, well, it's a Southern name. It's really deep South. Really,
you were way deep South.
No, Virginia has been my home for almost all of my life, but my family story started in Cuba. I like to say my story in some ways started in Havana, Cuba, when a scared 19-year-old girl got on an airplane, penniless and homeless, and not knowing where her next meal was going to come from. That was my mother, Miriam Miyares, who experienced a number of years in Castro's socialist paradise. That's sarcasm, obviously. So it gave me a great appreciation for what this country is. America as a nation has given second chances to so many. And so my mother left Cuba in the fall of 1965 with nothing. And almost 50 years to the day that she left in the fall of 2015, she was able to go into a voting booth and get a ballot. Was able to vote for me to represent her in the oldest democracy in the Western Hemisphere, the Virginia General Assembly. 50 years from leaving with nothing to being able to be able to exercise that precious right we have in democracy. It's what I call the American miracle. And the story that I have is not that different from most other immigrants, where they're able to see their children achieve things that they never could in their home country because they lived in a system that didn't recognize their dignity or their freedom. Maybe they were born into the wrong caste system. For whatever reason, they weren't able to achieve their God-given potential in a way in America that you can. And so it's given me an enormous sense of appreciation of who we are as a people, what America is, what it represents. And so it was candidly one of the reasons why I even decided to become a lawyer was the stories I heard about what it's like to live in a society with no rule of law. And now to be able to be the people's protector, as we say, as the Attorney General of Virginia, and including protecting people's constitutional liberty, I take that incredibly serious, and it's a real honor to have that role. But I'm always mindful of my family story and where we came from.
I think you summed it up very well. I don't know you that well, other than I follow you in all different places, social media, and so I know a little bit about your mom. And so where did you go to law school? That's something I don't know.
Went to William and Mary.
Did you?
And, it was, Mr. Jefferson went there for college, and first professor of law in America, George Wythe, signer of the Declaration of Independence, started the law school there. William and Mary likes to claim and say that we're the America's oldest law school. I think Harvard tries to fight us on that title, but I'll adopt the Virginia position.
The tribe.
Yes, but proud of that, and enjoyed my time in Williamsburg. Got a bachelor's in business administration at James Madison University prior to me deciding the world really needed another lawyer, but was a business major in college, and so that's I'm a Virginia boy, and that's also stayed in Virginia for law school.
Well, William and Mary undergrad, my daughter attended, and she loved every moment of it. And now I think she's made the school proud. She's a diplomat in Lithuania, and
wow.
She's at 30. She's accomplished quite a bit. Has climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. I think she's been in almost 35, 40 countries already. She travels like almost every weekend.
That's a tough
She loves
neighborhood to be working in the diplomatic corps in
Well,
Lithuania.
Russian studies so she's worked in Russia and everything. But being from William and Mary, I did not know you were from there, so that's great. I'm a political science major from Seton Hall, so I'm a Jersey guy.
Blue Pirates.
And very good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you know that.
They played in the national title game 1989 against the Wolverines. Yeah.
I watched it in Rahway, not Rahway Jail, but Rahway, New Jersey.
Wow.
I was at the car deal. I was working at a Hyundai store, and we closed early to go watch the game. But I was thinking about being a lawyer, but I realized the world did not need Barrymore and that. So that's why I got into car sales. And I think I represented all the dealerships I worked at very well, ethically, things that you would say that's what everybody should be doing in the business world. But and let's go on to a little bit. TRIAD. I say to people right now, do you know about TRIAD? Some people do, some people don't. The sheriffs of Virginia know about it. The attorney general know about it. Can you share a little bit about that and what your purpose is with that and your your involvement?
We're really proud of the fact that we've reinvigorated what TRIAD was. Yes. It was actually started under Governor Gilmore, and my predecessor didn't put in my personal opinion, not as much focus on it. So we have rechartered several dozen TRIAD chapters around the state, getting that word out. And really it's a partnership, and this is what I think is when communities come together and it works the best. We have a partnership of private citizens, really community leaders, and then law enforcement. It's really aimed at our seniors because our seniors are so heavily targeted by scammers, by people trying to take advantage of them. And I tell my staff all the time that 90% of life's problems can be traced to poor miscommunication, right? And so the best way to fight bad information is really just giving people good information. And that's a lot of what TRIAD is it brings people together, it briefs seniors, it brings people from the law enforcement community that talks about what they're seeing locally in their community, but also brings representatives from the Attorney General's office about different scams, things to keep an eye for, because first we want them to be safe. The second purpose, which I'm actually incredibly proud of, and it's not the mission statement, but I think it's a byproduct, is it gives seniors a sense of community and connection. Because even the Biden administration, their Surgeon General said that the loneliness is a public health crisis. It's an epidemic. 50% of Americans don't even know the name of their neighbor. And so that becomes real problematic because there is a mental health benefit of connecting with people. So we've had one of my favorite TRIAD chapters did a senior prom.
Yes.
And we always have a big annual TRIAD meeting in Williamsburg every year. We bring all the different chapters, and we get to hear all the different fun social activities. And I would also argue that's also public safety. When you're connected to people, when you have friends, it also means they are basically people that are doing wellness checks on you, and they're checking on you, they're connecting with you. They're also able to tell you, hey, you weren't able to make the TRIAD meeting. Keep an eye out for this. That's kind of popping up on the radar of these scams. And so we're really proud of how we've reinvigorated TRIAD and how we continue to add and charter new chapters. And I can't commend enough our local sheriffs and police departments that have partnered with us on this. They've just been great resources for us, and they've really, really taken this and run with it as well. So it's a great partnership that we've had, and we're proud of the results.
In probably 2008, or 9, 10, Dennis Prophet was a sheriff in Chesterfield, and my dealership was in Chesterfield. So they came to me and said, would you fund one of the events, one of the yearly get-togethers, and which we did. So I started getting together at these TRIAD events, not completely understanding exactly what it was about, but I knew it was about loneliness and keeping people safe and not getting them ripped off. So I worked a lot of tables, gave out a lot of information year in and year out. Carl Leonard took over. Got to know that group. And I used to say to the people, when I would speak to these old people, and that's how I would address them, and they look at you, you get a room of 100 people, and I say, hey, you old people, I get their attention, right? So when I came back from Pittsburgh and I took this job role, I went down to a Baptist church in Chesterfield, and I said, ladies, I remember talking to you from Haley years ago, and I called you old people, and now I check my birth certificate or my driver's license, I'm one of you now. So it's amazing how, God puts us through all these changes. Right. And one of the guys that you have in your office, Ben, who I commend, he works the desk or the table better than anybody I've ever seen. And, I don't know if you ever run into him at all, but he does. I was just telling Josh, I introduced him to Ben, joking aside, and Josh does the same thing. We work tables. And I said, Josh, this is the one gentleman I've never seen work a room any better than he does. So I commend your office for doing that because that's your culture. That's your team. You're the boss. Everything that goes bad here is my problem. Everything good, somebody else made it happen, right? You remember those days. And that's what the world's about, leadership. But the TRIAD is so critical. And after COVID, it is starting to come back. And so I handle 42 counties. I've been around. And the one thing, and I think you would agree, and your stats might differ, but it's not the old people like me anymore getting scammed. They've listened. It's the 20, 25, 30-year-olds. And they're skyrocketing, getting ripped off. And it's all because of cell phone.
Yeah. I mean, the cell phone is both an amazing device. Obviously, it makes life easier. But it is also true that with every single bit of emerging technology, bad actors try to take advantage of it. And they do. They'll send text messages, links to click on this. You want a free iPhone, and we have seen that kind of uptick of people, younger people, that would never do this if somebody showed up and knocked. And this is kind of an analogy I love to use. If somebody knocked on your door and say, "Congratulations, you won a free iPad or iPhone. Give me your banking information or give me your date of birth," you would never say that, right? But that's what happens with these text messages that come in. They're overwhelmingly bot farms from Russia and Belarus and a lot of Eastern European countries. We have a lot of protections that protect us domestically, but at the end of the day, a lot of these are operating outside of the law. And so, I've had to drill into my own kids and to my mom. No, if Amazon doesn't deliver a package, they're not going to send you a text message with a link to click to give them your Amazon info, right?
They're not.
The Social Security Administration is not going to say we need your Social Security number because something got misplaced or we're trying to communicate with you. And making people aware, that goes back to what I said earlier about getting the importance of getting good information to fight the bad information. But in a digital age, I think it was Mark Twain who said a lie can get halfway around the world before the truth puts its pants on in the morning. Even faster now in the social media age we all find ourselves in.
We're going to wrap up your storytelling about yourself. We learned a little bit about you very quickly, and I do appreciate you sharing. And we'll, the one thing I will tell you, one quick story. Somebody walked in about 2 weeks ago at the Better Business Bureau, and he's about 10 years older than me, and spent about $50,000 on Bitcoin off of a Facebook ad. And it's little denominations. And believe it or not, somebody brought him in to try to get me to talk to him. Didn't do very well because he still believed it was real. And he had to spend another $5,000 to get his $50,000 back. And I said, if they're a real investment company, you just tell them to short the 5 and give you 45 and you'll be okay. And then I said, well, I'll take a ride with you in a BBB card, and I don't care what state they're in. I'll drive with you, and let's go talk to them. They won't tell me where they're located. So
that's a sign.
But it's still happening. And it's not people from our country. I want people to understand that. I believe they could be 3,000, 8,000 miles away, all using iPads. And so BBB.org is what I encourage people to go to, BBB Scam Tracker, to report the scams. So then 50 AGs in our country can look at the Scam Tracker board and see the scams that are happening around the country. So thank you very much for your time and your leadership and your entire team. Rob Bell's still with you?
Yeah, Rob
and
still works with
Leslie
me.
Haley's still there.
Yeah, Leslie Haley.
So, a couple of names. I don't know why I know them, but I guess I like those people.
Yeah, they do great work.
They do.
Really blessed by it.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.